Troy, 3 Twins to V8s. I'm back here working on the Chevelle, getting the Vintageair in. Yesterday we did the bracketry, mounted the alternator, relocated the alternator, mounted the AC compressor, made several trips to the auto parts store, got the proper belts. So now I got my belts, my brackets, and my accessories are all bolted on. This morning I just had to spend a little time with my upper radiator hose to get it past my alternator. I really kind of lucked out. All I needed to do is just trim a little bit off of the edge where it makes a bend onto the radiator and slide it forward, and I got plenty of clearance between my alternator and my upper radiator hose. So at this point, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wiring harness that I have here that went over to my alternator, which was on the passenger side of the car, and I'm going to chase it back, and I'm going to bring it over to the alternator, which is now on the driver's side. Okay, so here we are. The alternator's all mounted nice. I mean, the compressor's all mounted nice. We got a nice line to the belt, nice line coming off of the other belt over to the alternator. Everything's looking really good. This is where I was talking about. I trimmed a little off of this end here so we get good clearance here. I can put my hand right in here pretty much, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable that even with the motor torquing a little bit, or the belt's really winging around, if we get to some high RPM operation, that everything will be fine here. So the next thing is to take this wiring harness, which had originally gone over here like this and gone to this side for the alternator, and get it to come over here and go over to the alternator over here. Okay, so my wiring harness originally came from this corner of the radiator support here and came over onto my alternator. So I rerouted it and I pulled it, and it's like up underneath here, up under the radiator support here, and this is my end. So this is my hot wire, this is my regulator wire here. Then I got my alternator all set up nicely over here. I got my wiring harness on it, and I extended the wire off of my hot side, I extended my wire off of my regulator. I made this harness and I wrapped it in black tape. I mean, this isn't a you know, like a super show car or anything like that. If it was, they do make like the original cloth tape that's like this here, that you can wrap your wire in, or you can put it in the plastic harness. You can do whatever you want. I just like it to be neat. So here's my wiring harness on the back of the alternator here. I got it coming down, got it going underneath this vacuum can. It comes along the edge of the fender, tucks in behind here, and if you can look down in here, I don't know how well you can see it, I attached it to the existing wiring harness with some wire ties. It comes up under here like this, and my my connection is under here. I'm not getting too fussy underneath here because I'm going to have to take this grill off anyways. The grill's got to come off, maybe even the front bumper. We'll see what's going on, so we can mount our condenser, because that's going to be our next project. Because as you can see right now, we've got pretty much everything that goes on the engine is pretty much good to go. We just need to work on getting a condenser in here, and then there'll be some plumbing for that. The next thing I'm going to want to do now is I'm going to take the grill and the lock support and stuff off the front of this to install the AC condenser, which is going to bolt to the outside of the radiator support in front of the radiator. So I'm going to go kind of tread lightly, so to speak. I'm going to take off as little as possible to install this. So I'm going to start by removing the lock support and the grill, and hopefully that'll give us enough room where we can, you know, do whatever drilling we need to do to get the AC condenser installed. So I'm going to show you what my plan's going to be. Okay, so here's the front of the car. I'm going to try and leave this bumper on. I got this drop light here so that you can see down inside of here. This is where my AC condenser is going to go. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to take the grill off and this lock support off, and hopefully have enough room to work in behind the bumper. That way there, I don't have to take the headlight extensions off, the bumper, all that stuff. I mean, if I have to, I will, but like I said, I like to tread lightly and take as little of the car apart as possible. It's less work, it's less problems. So as you can see, I've taken the center latch out, the latch support, taken the grill out, and I've taken this one headlamp bezel off. You're probably going to have to take them both off. Unfortunately, my grill over here was broken, so I was able to sneak the grill out. I'm going to have to take this off afterwards and fix the grill. Over here is my condenser. So I take my condenser out of the package and bolt this top bracket on, bolt the bottom bracket on, bolt the receiver dryer on there, and then the appropriate lines. What you'll see is they give you this whole exploded view type picture here. Shows you how to put everything together. It's relatively straightforward. So I've got this stuff all in position. I'm going to slip it into place with a couple of bolts and see where my lines have to go through the radiator support. So I'm going to do that first, and then what I'll do is I'll drill my holes, and then I can get my other lines in. Okay, folks, so I'm out here in the front of the Chevelle. I got my AC condenser in, and I'm getting ready to drill a hole through the radiator support for my lines. I got my little template that the folks at Vintageair gave me, and took my line and propped it up there and got a good idea of exactly where I want it to be. Now I got to make a hole for this grommet to go into there that's 1 1/4 inches. So what I did was I found my center of my hole where I want to have my grommet. I took a prick punch. I prick punched the center of the hole so that I was where I want to be. I drilled a 1/8 hole with this. Now I've got a hole saw, which basically looks like a bit with a big circular thing that screws on there that's about the right size. So what's going to happen is this pilot bit is going to go through my 1/8 hole. It's going to center this cutter, and then this cutter is going to grind around, and it's going to cut this hole in the radiator support, which is 1 1/4 inches for my little grommet, and then in theory my whole line will pop right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that out. Okay folks, so I'm back here and I got my hole drilled over here. Okay, so there's my hole. My line is way down there in the bottom. I don't know if you can see, there's the other part of it right there. So I've got this L-shaped line here that's going to go through here. Now this goes my radiator support here and screws into the other thing. Now, so I got that one all set. They give you this sexy little grommet right here to go right in there. I don't want to put that in there right now because this radiator support's wicked hot from drilling that hole. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here to this other side of the car, and I'm going to drill my hole for my other line up over here. I'm going to get that marked out. I'm going to drill that out, and then in theory I should be able to button all this stuff up. Okay, I got my second hole drilled in the radiator support here, and so I'm going to put my grommet in and put my line in. I'm going to show you basically what I got here. So you can see I'm going to put my line through there, and my line's going to go right here onto my receiver dryer. And if I made my hole right, I should be just about centered in my little hole thing right here. As you can see, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to put the grommet in, and then I'm going to be ready to install the line. It's basically I got this all mocked up. So in other words, I just have everything kind of sort of hand tightened, trying to position everything and get everything where I want it to be. Now that I have my lines and everything where I want it to be, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, I'm going to retighten all my screws, and I'm going to put my O-rings on all my lines and get my lines tightened down. So to do that, basically what you have is on here, if you look really close, you got a little collar, kind of like a flare or a ferrule type of thing. There's a rubber O-ring that goes on here that they give you in the kit, little green ones, and there's a little bit of lube that comes in a little tube. You put a little bit of that lube on here and on the O-ring and slide it on there and then put it together. The reason for the lube is so that the O-ring doesn't stick and doesn't cause it to grip, and when you tighten it, tear the O-ring, and then you'll lose all your coolant, refrigerant. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get all my lines all set, all my little grommets in, tighten everything up, and then this part of the project is going to be pretty good. All right, folks, so I got my lines all drilled out, put my little O-rings on, and put the lubrication on there. Got those sealed up. I got all my lines in position, tightened. I've got my little loom clips that hold my line across the bottom of the condenser. Everything looks really good. I'm going to start working on putting the rest of the front of this together, but I am going to bring the camera over so you can see what everything looks like now that it's together. Well, here we go. You know, now you can see the latch is all back in and everything. My lines are all right there. I'm all buttoned up nice over here. I'm coming through over there through my grommet. Everything's looking good. This is what my line looks like over here on the inside to the left side of the radiator. Gives me plenty of room. Come over here to this side. My line's right here, right on the other side of the radiator, coming through with my grommet and everything. Everything looks good. All my mechanical stuff from yesterday is all looking good. What I'm going to do is I am going to take and remove all of this stuff here because all these brackets are bare steel. I'm going to probably get those painted tomorrow. And that will pretty much take care of the under the hood stuff. Alright, so that's going to take care of 2 days worth of 2 phases of the AC, the mechanical on phase 1 on the engine, and then the AC condenser install and wiring for the alternator relocation. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Next segment, I'll start thinking about working on maybe some lines here under the hood, or moving into the inside of the car. So I appreciate you tuning in. My name's Troy Kane. V-Twins to V8s is the company. You can catch me on vtwins2v8s.com, V-Twins to V8s on Facebook, and I also have an eBay store, V-Twins to V8s, and Troy Kane is my YouTube channel where I post my videos. Appreciate you tuning in, and thanks a lot.